music for 2.5 years, and after only 1 day on sale, Undercover, as it's called, has already gone gold. That's 100,000 copies sold, proving to the cynics that even though he's on the wrong side of 40, lead singer Mick Jagger is still on the top. I've just been to Paris to meet him and to record an exclusive interview. But before that, here's your first chance to see the video for the new single, Under Cover of the Night. She graciously invited me to sit down in your own room. Is it difficult to keep trying to be ahead, keep trying to have fresh ideas?
I'm not trying to be an innovator all the time. I think it's silly to try and be an innovator. You can be innovative within your own, within your own limits. You can't be totally new all the time.
Do you still have the same enthusiasm for the music that you used to have?
Yeah, because rock and roll's nothing if it's not enthusiasm. It has to be. About 50% of rock and roll is enthusiasm, I think.
You don't have to drag yourself along to doing it just to...
No, I get into it, screaming my head off in the studio.
How long do you reckon the Stones can continue? Because we've never had a rock and roll band last as long.
No, it's like jazz. When jazz was started, they thought that was a sort of 10-day wonder. When rock and roll started, everyone said it'd be over. And it was. Performers in rock and roll were very fly-by-night. They still are, some. I think you should carry on until... You can carry on in rock and roll singing until quite a long time. Whether you want to or not, it's when you feel like you want to give it up, then you should give it up. I think I can do nearly everything that I can do on stage. When I used to be on stage before, I used to do like half an hour when I was like 19, and that was easy. Now I do 2.5 hours. I feel I can do most everything. But of course there'll come a day when I can't, so I won't do it, I'll do something else. Anyone, it doesn't matter how old you are, anyone that's going to do 2.5 hours show has got to be in good shape, like vocally and physically and mentally.
Do you enjoy it, or is it a bit of a bind?
It's good fun. If you don't do it 365 days a year, it's fun. If you do it all the time, it's terrible. It's like soul-destroying. Mentally, you go crazy. You see people coming off the road, When they're passing through town and they come and see you and they're like this, "Hi, Mick. How are you? I'm fine. I'm really having a great time." And you say, "Well, that's what I'm like, It's a bit of a shock sometimes.
Women have always been exceedingly important to Mick Jagger. He spent 3 years in the 60s cohabiting and co-partying with rock singer Marianne Faithfull. He went on to have 2 daughters, one by American actress Marsha Hunt and a second by Nicaraguan socialite Bianca Perez Mora, who became Mrs. Jagger in 1971. They're now divorced, and his current girlfriend, leggy Texan model Jerry Hall, is expecting his 3rd child next February.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It'd be really nice.
What are you hoping for, a boy or girl?
I'd like a boy because I've got 2 girls, so I'd like a boy. But get what you're given. It's me that supplies the sex, boy or girl. Are
you going to marry Jerry Hall before she has a baby?
I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
What do you think?
Maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
It's interesting. Everybody's got their image of Mick Jagger, and I think very often it's a different image. I wonder what your image of yourself is.
Well, I look in the mirror, I think, what a mess. No, this image thing is just a thing of media. People have many, many facets of personality, and that includes me. And so when you're on the road, for instance, you become this, you have a lot more ego when you're on the road, because you really need it to deal with the audience and to deal with press or to deal with the pressures.
Do you read everything that's written about you in the papers?
God, no, that's the worst thing. You never read. I don't read very much of it, actually. If you come across it or someone shows it to you, you're not going to say, "Oh, no." And if it's a bad review, I love reading the really rotten reviews. I don't read the good ones.
I said the joint was rocking, going round and round. Yeah, reeling and a rocking.
Actually, when you really go back to, say, 20 years ago, the things they wrote about the Rolling Stones are just hilarious, you know. Some places in America, they're still saying, how can we let these people take our children's money, and they're still...
Would you let your daughter marry a Rolling Stone?
Oh, that was an old one, Chestnut. That was, I think that was made up by a PR man in 1963 or something, you know.
That's a good line.
Yeah, it's a good one, yeah. Everyone remembers it.
Paris, where I met him, is just one of the places where Mick Jagger spends his time. Like a medieval king, he roves from palace to palace. His chateau in the Loire Valley, his townhouse in New York, his villa in Moustique, and just the occasional visit to Britain. But that sort of restlessly nomadic lifestyle doesn't seem to affect his work.
It's easy. Writing songs doesn't matter whether I'm here or whether I'm in England or wherever I am. If I have a guitar, I can still write a song, or even without one, I can write one. Hum it into a tape recorder.
What do you think of Britain these days, then?
I think it's got still a lot of life. Though there's obviously, the more it goes on having millions of unemployed young people, the more kind of depressed it will get.
Are you a Labour man?
Not at the moment, I'm afraid. I wouldn't say I'm a great supporter of the right. I'm not a right-wing Conservative, certainly, but I think that Labour's never going to win an election with their platform, not their present platform. I know that Mr. Tebbit is Mr. Who are we talking about?
Kinnock?
Mr. Kinnock, that we saw. I was there when they did the election of the new leader of the Labour Party. That he's an old rock and roll fan, so I heard. He likes sort of Jerry Lee Lewis and all that, which is very typical from that part of Wales that he comes from. They're real rockers.
Do you ever look back 20 years and think to yourself, gosh, I never imagined that I'd be here sitting in a Paris hotel, a huge world star, giving interviews like this? I
don't look back 20 years. Well, if you'd have said, well, I could say 20 years ago, I never thought I'd be doing this for a living. You know, I didn't know what I was going to do for a living. This is some kind of strange living. No, I didn't really. It's a kind of surprise just to be doing this, still doing this, because I've been doing it for a long time.
Are you glad you're still doing it?
Yeah, it's not the most hardest thing. It's had a lot of fun.
The single was out yesterday. It sold 100,000 copies in one day. Frankly, I'm surprised you came back.